Hey, Andrew, how exciting and satisfying is it for you to be back in the lineup now and to have played a role in such a big win?
Definitely. It felt great. I've been waiting to get back in the lineup for a long time. Just rehabbing every single day for the last almost month. Just trying to stay patient as I can, help out the guys in front of me, make the plays that they need to make. But yeah, it was a great win for the team. Time to move on, focus on UAB. But yeah, it felt great to be back. So
How about that pass breakup in the end zone? Can you talk me through that play?
yeah, it was 4th and 12. We needed to take a shot at the end zone. Um, I was all the one in that coverage, so we knew the scouting report. We knew what routes the receivers like to run. Kind of anticipated that coming. Made a play on the ball. Um, got a little scared at the end of it. Thought someone else had made another play on the ball, but Jackson Campbell came through after finished it off. So felt great.
And this week, again, another top flight quarterback, a quarterback who during the offseason had a lot of interest from some of the top teams in the country, but he decided to stay at UAB. But you guys also had some success against him last year. What kind of problems does he pose, and why do you think you guys were able to play well against him before?
Definitely. This year it seems like he's a lot more confident running the ball this year. We haven't really dove into the scouting report so much yet. But yeah, it definitely seems like he's more confident. Has more weapons around him. They got a couple transfers. But last year, we gave him as many looks as we could. Tried to mess with his mind as much as we could. Ended up being successful for us. So hopefully, if we can do that again, have a more powerful offense behind us this year, we'll definitely have a success just like we had last year. So
Thanks a lot.
definitely.
Andrew also broke up a key 2-point conversion in the end zone low. By statistics, you do not get credit for that one, unfortunately. So that's why it says one and only two, and not two. Hey, that hurts.
Andrew, how hard is it to flush Saturday, turn the page to this week coming up for your team's first road game?
Definitely. I wouldn't say it's that hard at all. We know it's success we want to achieve on the year, and that success isn't going to come from just beating one team. So we know not to get complacent. We know not to choke on the sugar, as Coach Newberry says. We just go back to work right away, right off the bat. Started studying UAB Sunday night, honestly. But yeah, take time to enjoy the win. It was a program-changing win. But now first road test, see how we really are as a team in a challenging environment for sure. So
when you're playing and your defense was on the field for 95 snaps, do you feel that physically, or are you just kind of running on adrenaline because they're no huddle, they're going fairly quickly. You really don't have time to ramp down in between plays. You just got to get to the line of scrimmage, line up again, and go again, right?
right. Coach Volker preaches 1-0 mentality, and whether you're tired or not, they don't care if you play 200 snaps, play 10 snaps. You're gonna give it your all every single play. You're gonna go 1-0 that rep. So just breathe, focus in, and explode in every single play. That's what Coach Volker tells us, and we really had to practice that and implement it on Saturday. That was a long game for the defense, but you do feel it on your legs, but you can't think about that. You just got to think about winning your rep, your one-on-one rep every single play, because there's a bigger picture at the end of the day, getting that W. So
Is it harder to fight through mentally or physically in a game like that? Because that's a team that throws a lot at you.
definitely, especially from a defensive back standpoint, going against a team like Memphis, high-powered passing attack team like that. Definitely mentally focusing on your keys, making sure your eyes are right, especially as a DB, is the biggest thing when fatigue comes. So if your eyes are bad, your technique's going to be off, and you have a chance to give a big play. So mentally staying focused is one of the hardest things you can do. Just fighting through that fatigue, fighting through that mental strain is what's going to is going to be the difference between a win and a loss, honestly. And I think that as a defense, we did that at a high level, especially on like snap 90, snap 95, Ray Lane making a big play at the end. That's what Coach Volker teaches, just going 1-0, next play mentality. Nothing matters but the next play. So
awesome. Thank you.
Wags.
Andrew, was there any rust out there after having been out for a while with the injury?
Definitely, just a little bit of rust. I missed a big sack late in the fourth quarter that probably would have changed the game. Just getting back into the flow of the game, getting out of breaks on a timely manner, instead of rounding them. Yeah, so just some technique rust, but getting a lot of mental reps over the last few weeks. There hasn't been a lot of mental rust, I would say. My reads felt like they always have. But yeah, just getting back to right at top speed again. Felt good to be back out there, knock the rust off a little bit, knock some more off in practice this week. So
Obviously, it's tough. You're a returning starter, and you get injured in preseason, and all of a sudden, here's this young buck, Ira Onia, gets a chance, and he plays so well that he seizes the starting job. But he said when we talked to him that you were very supportive, that you were coaching him up, that you were his biggest fan. Can you talk about that, being selfless like that?
oh, I mean, if you want to win, you can't be selfish. You can't be, oh man, he took my spot. It's over for me. No, you gotta, especially seeing him go through practice day to day. I'm trying to help him as much as I can because I want this team to win. I don't want to be a selfish person, selfish player. I was a young kid. He hadn't got that many game reps, so I wanted to be there to support him as much as I could. Because once you're on the field, it's just you and the ball, you and the receiver. But yeah, just a team, big team, little me mentality is how I took this injury. And it was hard at times, but seeing Ira making plays out there was all worth it. So so proud of him.
It kind of worked out that when he went down, you were there to step right back in.
Yeah, definitely. It was unfortunate to see him go down like that. He's been working his tail off to get back. He'll be back really soon. But yeah, I gave him the advice again, like, just take your time, don't rush anything back. We're going to need you later in the season. It's a long season. And getting Greg Johnson along as well is going to be big for us as a defensive backcourt. But yeah, seeing Ira go through that injury, the same injury I went through, it's pretty rough. But I know he'll be back stronger and better than ever. So.
Well, as you just mentioned, I mean, the way things have worked out, it's only adding to the depth of at the position. I mean, we came in with you and Deshaun were really the only experienced guys. Now all of a sudden, Ira's got game experience, Greg Johnson's got game experience. Now all of a sudden you're a deeper unit, right?
Oh, definitely. And the deeper you are, especially at the defensive back position, the better your entire defense is going to be. We got another couple young plebes coming along, Phil and Justin Ross. So if they come along the way we need them to be, like, we can run six deep at corner, which is something that's very hard to see, especially at a college level. But yeah, just the more game reps we can get these young guys, the better we'll be as a whole defense.
So Strauss, why does Andrew not get a pass breakup on that 2-point conversion? And can Andrew petition for a statistical review?
So on 2-point conversions, it's just simply a completion or incompletion. There's no stat period. Quarterback can get a completion or incompletion. That's just the NCAA. That's statistical rule in NCAA and NFL. It's just basically 2 points or no 2 points. That's the only stat part of it. That's the rule.
I never knew that.
Yep. Scott Wyckoff.
And Coach Volker talks to us quite a bit about communication, how important that is, especially for you guys in the defensive backfield. What does it mean to have a group like you do that's played together so long and is able to communicate so well?
It's great. I mean, knowing that I could switch sides of the field and have Embiid or Ray communicating to me, and knowing that I'm going to get the exact communication that I need to get is reassuring, to say the least. I mean, having them as well as Jackson Campbell as striker, because I count him as part of DB sometimes too. I mean, just knowing what each other have to do and knowing your help is a big thing in our defense especially. So knowing where Ray is going to be, knowing where Embiid is going to be, and sometimes even knowing where Jackson's going to be and DP on the other side is going to be, just in case, like you saw in that post they call it. Greg came and helped DP down there. But yeah, just knowing communication is crucial to being a successful defense.
What does it mean when Ray makes a play like he did in the game to clinch the victory after going through so much adversity before that? What does it mean to the other players in the team to see him do that?
I mean, you know, Ray's a great guy, and seeing him make that play, I was telling some of the strength coaches after the game, I was like, you know, that was probably one of the best plays of my football career, and do with it. But you know, seeing him make that play and looking at the sideline, looking at the crowd, seeing the lights, you know, it meant everything to everyone on the defense and honestly everyone on the team. You know, it was a big relief and release, honestly. You know, just to have Ray make that play and then take it to the end zone and let some clock go down so that, you know, took another couple of snaps off our legs again. But you know, it meant the world to us as a team and as a defense. So
you talked about going for the sack that you just missed on earlier in the game. How important is it for you, the physical part of being a cornerback? I mean, last year, I think 5 tackles in one game. Your first game back, you had 4 tackles. It seems like you really pride yourself on being a physical cornerback.
Definitely, that's how we pride ourselves as a room. You know, we set a standard now, and that is be physical on any receiver. You know, receivers don't like physicality, and if we can apply that level of physicality and speed and mindset to how we play as a cornerback room, one, it's going to help the safeties out, and two, it's going to apply a lot of pressure on the receivers that we play, especially in our conference. So, you know, we made it a goal to be more physical as a cornerback room this offseason, whether it's block destruction, tackling. That was a key emphasis from Coach Green to set the standard for this upcoming season. So.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pete.
Andrew, I saw your smile when Scott asked you about Ray's play, but is that, as you described earlier, the mentality of want to know the next play? Is that maybe what best described out of all the plays you all were on the field in that game, that now we'll remember the last play from the defense, that the defense made a play and the other 10 guys did their job, which allows Ray to do what he does best and kind of run center field, because that quarterback doesn't make many errant throws at any time.
Right. Yeah. You know, that want to know mentality doesn't just, you know, we talked about it with Ray, you know, that onside kick. But it doesn't just apply to Ray, you know, it applies to the whole defense, you know. So the D-line getting a good rush on that last play, you know, could have affected the quarterback. You never know. The rest of the DB core shutting down other options for the quarterback, you never know. So just doing your job and being one to know every single play. Like I said, the only snap that matters is the next snap. Like that's something that we preach here all the time. And Ray just showed that how that works and why it's so important to have that mindset. You know, he could have just kind of let up on the play. He was tired. You know, we just played 95 snaps. Could have let up, but you know, want to know every single time, whether that's effort, whether that's your key, whether that's your job, just be one to know and you'll be successful. So
yeah, with him on teams 118 in this game. I mean, not many guys have done that
crazy
in a Navy uniform. Look, this position used to be simple. You'd go stand in front of a guy, you cover that guy wherever he goes, you try to stay with him. But now the game has become so specialized. We've got zone packages, we've got man packages, we got nickel, we got dime, all this stuff. What are the challenges to making sure, and obviously communication is job one on that, but with all of the different packages and how specialized the game has become. Plus, this staff loves to send corners on blitzes in addition to that, as well, as we have seen. Just what are the challenges to making sure everybody's on the same page with all the different packages that we see now from defenses?
You know, I would say the number one thing is to just, for yourself, make it as simple as possible, no matter how specialized it gets, you know. Whether that's just knowing your job, knowing your help, knowing what the offense wants to do. We talk about being dimensional players a lot here. So the more you get in the playbook, the more you know who's around you, what's around you, the simpler it'll become, and the faster the game will, or the slower the game will be, the faster you'll be able to play. But I would say that just knowing what you have to do and being in the playbook as much as possible is how we're able to manage all these different packages and all these different looks that we give an offense. So it takes hours of film study, hours of playbook study, but knowing your job is the most important part of making it as simple as possible. You know, Coach Volker preaches that a lot. It's not hard. Just do your job, and dominate your job when you get the chance to. So
When you study film during the course of the week, I know it's impossible to really simulate how hard a guy is running a route, and how fast that person may really be at running their route. But what's the key to film study during the week? Is you try to, find traits that maybe can help you against the wide receivers you may match up against every week.
right. So Coach Green has done a great job of teaching us how to watch film as a corner and as a DB. But you always want to have a plan when you're watching film. You can't just log onto the account and just start watching plays and just think you're going to know exactly what's going to come on Saturday. You got to start. So personally, I organize it by formation first. Go through all the plays in all the past plays in the season by formation, and then once I do that, I start dialing in on the personnel and see what receivers like to run what routes, where they're lined up on the field, what tempo they run when they run those routes. So just taking the time to actually put work into my craft, I think is what I see as a difference from this year and last year, personally as a corner and as a whole DB group. We started watching film together last year, and the more time we spend together, the more we know what each of us are going to do. So as long as we all understand the personnel and we all know how to watch film, it's going to be a great year for us. So.
Yeah. Do you feel, it just seems like there's an extreme buy-in from this entire roster. Do you feel that every day in the workplace? And then obviously so far on the Saturdays, things have gone okay so far.
Definitely. I was telling a couple of guys in the DB room that actually over the summer, it just felt different this year. Just going into the weight room, usually, finish a workout, people, they have other stuff they want to do outside of football, but this summer it was different. The entire team would stay after and get extra work in, whether that was extra strikes on the shed, in the weight room, extra lifts, extra curls, whatever it might be. Everyone was staying back and everyone was buying in, creating a culture because, we didn't have the plebes this summer. So when they came in, they saw that the culture is what it was. And you can feel it throughout the week at practice. Everyone's mindset is just win. Everyone's mindset is just, attack the day and don't let the day attack you. And I think that's honestly the biggest difference is our mindset change. Everyone in college football does the same thing. As Coach Newberry says, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And I think the way we're attacking this season so far is something that I've never seen here from Navy football. So
awesome. Appreciate you. We'll see you on the plane Friday.
Thank you so much.
Flags.
Andrew, a win is a win, and that's all that matters in the end. And as we said, the defense made some plays to help contribute to that win. But we're about to talk to Coach Volker, and I know he's probably going to say that overall, the defensive performance was, not up to par with the amount of points and yards allowed. What it was from a player's perspective? What do you take away from that, and how determined are you to moving forward to make people see that was an anomaly?
Definitely. It was not up to par at all. But like you said, got the job done. We fought until the end, but scheme wise, technique wise, we have a lot to clean up. And it's good that we saw this early and against a team of that caliber, and that we were able to get that win, because now we can improve on what we know we need to work on as we start to go into this away stretch that we have. And it's definitely crucial that everyone gets back in the film room and sees exactly what they need to do and fix. But as a defense, we definitely have a lot to work on as far as schemes and where we're supposed to be at and fits and techniques and things like that. So long way to go, but we're making strides right now. So that's good.
In terms of pass defense in particular, do you feel that that game this past Saturday will help you as you coming up this Saturday with another team that wants to throw the ball around quite a bit?
I think that the plan that Coach Volker and Coach Lewis and Coach Green come up with every single week is specific to how they want us to play and how they think or what they think will give us the best chance to win against the team that we're playing. So I don't think that anything last week is going to specifically work any better than it did unless, we make it work like that. But just out scheming the offense and playing harder than the offense, executing more than the offense is our main goal every single week, no matter what the game plan is. You could run our base defense every single play, and we don't expect them to get anything out of it if we execute it right. So no matter what the coaches call, we're going to go out there and we're going to execute it to the best of our ability. We're going to make sure that the offense can't do anything against us.
PJ, what would be your overall assessment of the defensive performance Saturday against Memphis?
Yeah, I'll tell you the same thing I told the guys. Congratulations on the win. We did what we needed to do to win the game, but it was not to our standard.
Coach Newberry took the blame on his shoulders and said that kind of figured it would at a certain point of the game, up by 19, drop in coverage. And, after the game and again during his press conference Monday, he shouldered the blame for this. Is that just the head coach being a stand-up guy, or do you feel like it just was a decision that was made?
Everything that happens defensively, I pull the thumb on. And things that don't go the way that they needed to go. When we're dropping 8 or whatever to protect a 19-point lead with time running off the clock, we still have to go execute those coverages in those situations. And, that comes down to making sure that our guys know exactly what their job is so they can execute it at that time. And we gave up just too many sloppy plays in the fourth quarter, really. We had opportunities to get off the field. There was a lot of missed opportunities there.
One thing that Coach New kind of bemoaned was tackling. I don't know how many missed tackles you recorded upon reviewing the tape, but what's your assessment there?
Yeah, we had 14 missed tackles, which is too many, and we played too many plays, because of the missed opportunities and the situations we had to get off the football field. So, when you play 99 snaps, it's like playing 2 football games. And that's where, numbers get inflated and all those types of things occur. So, but that's all self-inflicted and all stuff that we need to fix moving forward.
So obviously, it's a high-powered offense with a great quarterback guy. It's probably going to be in the NFL, and it's a somewhat of a pick your poison situation. And I was talking to Strauss about this, and a few years ago, you blitzed Hennigan and he made you pay. Then, you drop and he can make you pay. There's not a lot of great choices, but Coach New kind of felt like you've got to do something to make the quarterback uncomfortable. Did you all have this discussion, after the game about if we could do it over again type thing?
Yeah, we talked about it. Obviously, you did what you had to do to win the football game. But there's always calls, Wags, that you'd like to have back. There's always adjustments that you'd like to have back. But yes, there's certain things that you'd like to do differently to control the outcome a little bit better and not let it get so close there at the end.
I see Pete's joined, so I'll pass it off to him.
Go ahead, Pete.
PJ, sometimes our offenses, I don't want to say so elite, but so tough to stop in what they do that no matter what you throw at them, and you guys did an awful lot of different things. You pulled a lineman out, you went dime, with an extra DB. You tried to do as much as you can. Sometimes in some games, is that just one of those games where both offenses, quite frankly, executed at an elite level against what are 2 usually pretty good defenses?
Yeah, it was certainly a tough day for defenses out there. that Hennigan is a really good player, and they have a really good scheme with a ton of great players around. So it's a challenge, and we dared them to take sort of what we were giving them, and they did. And in my opinion, then they ended up getting a little bit more on top of that. Where we were, dropping a lot of guys into coverage to protect against the deep ball, and we didn't protect against the deep ball. Those are the things that we've got to be able to fix when we're max dropping. In those situations, we have to make sure that we keep the ball inside and in front of us and can't give up big chunk plays in those situations. But absolutely, my hat goes off to them. They executed at a much higher level than we did through most of the fourth quarter.
We were talking with Andrew earlier. He talks about how even in a game like that, you and the staff continue to stress, you got to turn the page. You can still make, on the next play, you can make the play. And Ray makes the play to close out the game. And that play can only happen if the 10 other guys are doing their job, and it allows him to do what he does best in the middle of the field, because Hennigan's not going to give you many of those balls. And when he does, you got to get that when it's available. But is that maybe the biggest sign of what you all preach about, even on the 95th play? You got to go do something. Because, look, your kids were out there for an extraordinary amount of plays. I know we run a lot of plays in this game, but even that, by the time Ray plays special teams, he's at $118 by the end of this thing. But does that maybe epitomize exactly what you all stress, though?
I think absolutely. We've got tough guys, and Ray in that situation, they onside kick it at him. He doesn't get the ball. All that stuff that those things can be talked about. Doesn't get the ball. There's and things were not going our way defensively for the entire second half, and then that happens, and there are a lot of kids across the country that in that moment are done, are cooked. And for him to bounce back, if you know our guys and if you know Ray, you know that it's not shocking, but a lot of other kids across the country, a lot of other teams across the country aren't able to persevere through that adversity. And I think that's what made me so proud as a football coach, is to see guys fight through just things were not going our way. Everybody that was around saw it, and we just kept fighting. And when that opportunity presented itself, he was able to make it. And I don't know if I've ever been as proud and potentially relieved as a football coach. But then go right up to Ray and talk to him and say, "Hey man, I'm so proud of you, how tough you are, all those things." And he just looks right at you and goes, "Want to know, coach, next play." just like you've taught him. It's just, it was a really special moment.
Is that what, obviously in your career, it's never been more tough to play defense in our sport, just because of the quality of the offense, the rules that kind of slant toward the offense. But to have a player that no matter what, he's not going to lose his confidence in himself and his team. To me, that's what separates the good from the average and the elite from the good, is a guy that can still play that next play, especially in that position. Those guys in the back, they're under siege in this game at all times against offenses like that. But is that what you find, that mindset is what separates maybe the elite players from the very good and average players?
Yeah, I think it's all about your mindset. And I think all that confidence comes through his preparation and not just him, but anybody on our football team. I think that confidence comes from preparation and then being in those moments before. He obviously made a pick in a very similar situation in last year's game against Memphis in the fourth quarter. And obviously we weren't able to go on and win that football game, but then to make that play in this game, they got 1:20 left, all 3 timeouts, the ball on at midfield, and just the bow his neck right there, and for the rest of our guys to be able to execute some calls that we hadn't ran in the course of the football game yet. And I was just extremely proud for our entire football team, for our defense, for Ray Lane, everybody. But I agree. I think that confidence is what separates a lot of people.
We talk about the players and fatigue over 95 plays. Is there a fatigue that as a coach and a coaching staff you have to fight over 95? Because it almost feels like you're just not getting any kind of a break out there at all, even from a defensive play calling and even teaching standpoint when you do get them on the sideline there briefly, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, the game is always a mental struggle, as a coach. You're always trying to find whatever little tidbit that you can give your guy to help your guy to get better, or to help your guys to get better, or improve, or have success, and all those things. And you're looking at every detail throughout the course of the game, whether it's big or small, to try to find that advantage, to try to find that adjustment, to be able to give your team that advantage. So yeah, it's I didn't quite understand it when Coach hired me as defensive coordinator. Coach knew, it's like, it's as close as you'll ever, like, calling plays is as close as you'll ever get to playing football again. And I was like, man, I don't really know what he's talking about. And then after the first practice, when I called plays, I was like, oh, I got it now. Like, I totally understand it now. So it's awesome. It's incredibly rewarding. But we've got a great staff. We've got great guys here that put in a ton of work for game day, and that's our time to go out there and to perform and play at a high level. And we all put a ton of work into it, players, coaches, staff, everyone. So yeah, it is exhausting by the time the game gets over, and it's not unique to just that particular game. It's every game.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, Pete.
I've got one. Technically, Ray is supposed to go down on that interception to seal the game. It was, did anyone get on him for not going down, or was everyone okay with him returning that for a touchdown?
No, I think we all, I mean, you can see on the sideline, everybody telling him to go down and all that type of stuff, but he wasn't going down.
And then not only that, but having the wherewithal to look around and see no one from Memphis was around, and to stop at the 1 yard line and take it to the other sideline almost to run even more time off.
He's always aware of his surroundings. That's for sure. I thought it was an excellent play. I really did. It probably technically he should have taken a knee at the 1 right there, but hard to blame him on that one.
I would have scored too if I was him. Bags.
So PJ, in addition to Colin Ramos, who do you feel played well on the defensive side of the ball on Saturday?
Yeah, I thought there was 3 guys that really stuck out to me. It was obviously Colin, Ray, and then I thought Andrew Duhart. It was great to have him back. I thought he played excellent football. It was just great to get him back. He had two huge pass breakups, one on 4th down, one on a 2-point conversion. Did a great job in coverage, really all day. Was super proud of him and the detail with which he played with.
So Coach New was talking about, I mean, having a performance like Saturday early in the season can be beneficial because there's so much you can learn, so much you can try to fix. Can you look at it from that angle that you've got exposed a little bit, and now you know exactly what you've got to try to get corrected before you go face another opponent.
Yeah, and UAB is really good. Like, there's no, in this conference, there's no hiding from anybody on either side of the ball. And UAB is a really explosive offense, and we've got to play a heck of a lot better, and we know that And it's the same thing we tell the guys. It's the same thing every week. Whether you shut a team out or give up 40, you got to go back in the lab and you got to get right back to work and do everything in your power to go 1-0. So you got to go through the film with a fine-tooth comb and make sure guys understand what the issues were, what went wrong, and then we got to work our tails off to fix those issues and make sure they get fixed and make sure that we play to our standard and we play better football.
So going back to the, so many guys playing almost 100 plays in total. And obviously that was a little bit of an outlier and that's a rarity game, but moving forward, Coach New had mentioned maybe you've got to try to get more guys on the field, maybe go a little deeper, give some guys some rest. Your thoughts on that? Do you feel there's, reserves that can be put into action here and get the job done?
Yeah, I think we absolutely do. Part of the challenge Saturday was that we played 45 plays in the fourth quarter. So that's a I've never been part of that before. So like you go into the fourth quarter, in a manageable play number, and then you leave in a completely unmanageable one. And it's hard to make a lot of substitutions with the game on the line in the fourth quarter with guys that hadn't had a ton of reps and game action at that point. So it was sort of a unique game in terms of that. But yeah, we're committed to playing the guys that deserve to play. If that's 11 guys, then it's 11 guys. If it's 30 guys, then it's 30 guys, and anywhere in between. And it comes down to execution in practice, so that we all have trust and confidence in each other.
So, but strategically, maybe pulling guys that are starters off special teams, just to guard against that happening again, or is that not, like you said, you got your best players on special teams as well? Without I don't know. It's a tough kind of way to go.
It's a tough battle. I think probably the best thing for us to do is just get off the field on third down. Will help us drastically in terms of that. So I think that's really important too. But you can't just rob your special teams of the best players. And we got to be able to play more guys. We got to have guys that are committed in practice, and I think we do. I think we got to do a better job as a staff, making sure we get those guys in situations where they can have success or where they can get into potentially spell guys on defense or special teams, so they can begin to earn some confidence and trust in themselves, and their teammates can do the same things as well. So it's something as a staff we got to look at really, really hard, and we're having a lot of those conversations and seeing guys grow throughout the course of the week on special teams and on defense.
So with UAB, I mean, how would you describe their offense? I know Zeno is a prolific passer. But I think that Dilfer also believes in running the ball. I think he describes his offense as more kind of, I don't know, pro style power oriented. Do they have a very effective running game?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're effective run and pass. This is a really dynamic and diverse offense. I think the world of what they do schematically, and I think the world of their personnel as well. Like I said, there's nowhere to hide in this conference. We know that they are a very, very well coached, a very talented bunch, and we have a huge, huge challenge in front of us on Saturday.
Thanks, PJ.
Appreciate it, Wags.
Pete.
Coach, how do you guard against also, just because some packages may not have netted the results you hope for? How do you guard against going, man, that didn't work, we might not be able to do that, just because you have a game like this?
It's the exact same thing when you have success. Each game is independent of itself. They don't carry over. Things that work one week may not work at all the next week, and things that may not have worked last week may work this week, and it's just constantly evaluating everything that you're doing, everything your opponent's doing, and then working to find angles, to find techniques, to find a schematic advantage that our guys are able to execute and play fast in.
Are there any candid similarities in what Memphis does and what UAB does offensively? Certainly you have quality at the quarterback, and that's where all this starts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's obviously where everything starts is they both have excellent quarterbacks that can dominate football games. And I think they both have offensive lines that are physical, that play their style of football, and they have skill players on the perimeter, and they have big backs that run hard.
Right.
And so there's a lot of similarities between the two.
How has Kyle played in your mind through 3 games? The fact that he's played 3 games is a plus, but how do you feel he has played now, being able to get back-to-back games?
Yeah, I think he's been awesome. I think he just keeps getting better and better. He understands everything that we're trying to do defensively. He plays our style of football. I think he's really physical. He's fast. There's just a ton of room for growth with him as well. There's always a few plays that you'd like to have back, but I think he's playing excellent football. I think the guys around him trust him, look at him as the Mike linebacker and the guy that sort of sets the tone for the physicality with which we want to play with. I mean, he's as heavy a hitter as anybody we have on the football team.